In just a minute, I'm going to be going over this suspension bridge into Savannah, Georgia, and instead of showing you all my gorgeous face yet again, I thought I would show you the view here as we ride through the salt marsh area in this very dubious patch of land, which contains all these strip clubs and everything right on the border between South Carolina and Georgia. As we do this, I'm going to talk a little bit about my new nonfiction work that I'm planning to write, and it's going to be called, and I hereby claim this so that no one can steal it. If you use this title, I will sue you down to your skivvies. And that's not a threat, that's a promise. The title for my work will be Simping is a Social Disease. And I really want to consider simping. There's so many different angles that one can have, that one can take on the whole issue of simping. On the one hand, it is a really lighthearted subject, and of course, it's a meme, and I should say it can be a very lighthearted subject. In a way, it's not. In a way, it's a serious as murder type of subject, but it's also something that you can laugh about, and I kind of enjoy that elasticity of that thematic elasticity whereby something is a joke or is funny, but it's also more than funny. It's a joke, but it's much more than a joke. It's something that's amusing, but on the other hand, it's something, if you look at it a certain way, that is rather unamusing indeed. That is, I don't want to say it's no laughing matter, because anything that makes you laugh genuinely, I think is fine. I think it's good to laugh. But on the other hand, sometimes we laugh about things because they are so dire and so we recognize that the problem is so significant, and I believe simping is one of those things. So, what will it take for men to not simp anymore? What will it take? I ask myself this question a lot, and I'm going to discuss two aspects of simping that I have seen that have more caught my attention recently. And I guess they're things I've spoken of before, but these particular manifestations of simping they're just so egregious that they have to be spoken of and exposed, and they need to be examined. I truly think that we before I say that, let me talk about the examples that I'm talking about. Okay, the first thing is I've become aware that there is this segment. We're going over the suspension bridge right now, by the way. There's this segment on the James Corden late night show, which I do not watch. The guy seems like kind of a faggot to me, frankly. Does not appeal to me at all. But there's a segment that he does sometimes called late Tinder talk, I think. And because he's on it's the Late Show, so it's a late Tinder or something or other. I'll attach the examples of it, or a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. I came to know about this through a video by Think Before You Sleep. I was in blissful ignorance about this whole thing, but what it reminded me of is something that I remembered seeing on Incel TV, where they were highlighting this British show or this Irish show maybe, where there were a bunch of women who were 10 or 12 women, and then they brought out a man, and they all just laid into him, and either they laid into him and talked about how unattractive he was, or if he happened to be hot, they all drooled over him, and it was just really disgusting and appalling. And this late Tinder is very similar. What they do with this late Tinder thing is they have somebody who is a female employee. It's always a female employee, or if it's a male employee, it's a gay male employee. So it's usually a female employee who James Corden says he wants to help, find a match for, help her out in her romantic life. So then 3 guys come out, and it's like they pretend that there's a big thing on it, like a puppet show frame on a stage, where they walk out and appear in the middle of the frame as if they were appearing on Tinder. And the women, it's usually women, or else it's gay men. It's never, the employee is never a male considering women on Tinder. That is never, ever the case. And that seems highly significant. I mean, I need not really go into it that much. The double standard is obvious. But anyhow, so I can't really bear to watch this very much, because it's just it makes my blood boil. Just how these guys are willing to demean themselves, and how the show and the women who are on the show, who are choosing between these guys, how they are all so callous towards them. It's really, it's just appalling. But it's worse that it's bad how they're treated, especially if they're not good looking. But even the good looking ones are essentially treated like exploitatively, like the way that feminists would complain about some woman coming out in a bikini and getting catcalled. That's basically it. If you're a good looking guy, then you get catcalled by the audience. I mean, I'm serious. The good looking guy comes out, and the women in the audience all go, woo! I mean, just imagine, they're trying to find they're trying to find a match for a male employee who's heterosexual, and they bring out a woman who's good looking, and all the men in the audience go, yeah, woo, yeah. Imagine that. You can only imagine it, because they would never allow it. And just imagine a show in which, or a segment like this, in which a male employee, the male is allowed to choose between females, and he's honest about, well, you don't look that great to me, and You know, imagine that you're a little overweight, you know, but they if it's not a good looking guy, they just pick him apart. They really lay into him, but then they sort of try to soften the blow a little bit by James Corden saying something like, "But you have a very kind face, and you know, if you just get your hair cut and maybe wear a different suit, you know, you'll start doing all right." And so anyway, you know, there's a fair to even chance that it's all just orchestrated, that it's all been planned out from the outset. You know, these are all actors and they're all following a script. That's all very possible. It's still demeaning in the sense that it even exists, and that it's broadcasting these certain ideas to I'm going to say the American public, but to whatever segment of the American public is up and, you know, up late and watching this crap. It's sending out these messages that, you know, women can just be women can be ruthless, and also women are allowed to be extremely shallow and extremely they're allowed to just drool over men and talk about how gorgeous they are and to squeal and, again, catcall them when that would never be tolerated the other way around. But also men who are unfortunate enough not to be catcall worthy, you know, they're just sort of just brought up and absolutely shredded, psychologically shredded. Men are willing to do this. Okay, that's the thing. That's what I find distressing. Whether they're actors who are just playing these parts, which is always a possibility on television. Even if it's all scripted, it's still, they are demeaning themselves by portraying themselves this way. And they are demeaning, in a larger sense, men by saying, this is what you have to do, guys. It's sort of like the whole, you know, you got to go, what I was talking about in the video not long ago. You got to go cold approach. You know, you got to do a cold approach and get totally shut down and mocked and ridiculed and you're a man, you can take it. It's like that. It's like men are just expected not to get, you know, terribly psychically injured by. I don't know how you recover. If again, this is a point that I made before when I was looking at that other show, that Irish show. I don't know if you actually go up and you're just told that you know, forget it, kid. You're totally unappealing as a man to this whole panel of women. I don't know. I know we're supposed to just think that they can just brush that off and see it as constructive criticism or something, but that's absolutely, that's devastating. And you know, on national TV in front of everybody, but they're willing to do it. Okay, this is the problem. This is where the root of the problem lies. They're willing to do this. It's just like with the Tinder trap, which was one of my higher, one of my more watched videos on my old channel, which got nuked when I covered the Tinder trap. But if you have any questions about what the Tinder trap is, just look it up. Just type it in, and see some other people's videos about it. That was when a girl tricked a bunch of guys thinking that they all had a one-on-one date with her, and guys came from all over the place to meet this girl in somewhere in New York City, and then it turned out there were hundreds of men there for this one who she'd all tricked into thinking that they were the only one. Each of them was the only one who was going to be there with her, and then she had them do all these like games to compete with each other to prove themselves worthy of her, and only a few men said, "Screw this, I'm out of here." A lot of the men who were there just stayed and participated in these demeaning games for this girl who wasn't even that great to begin with, but that's not even the point. Obviously she's not great. Obviously she's trash if she's doing something like this, but I mean, just physically speaking, she was no Farrah Fawcett in her prime or anything. Anyhow, this is the same, like an extension of the same thing. Men are willing to go out and be clowns. They're willing to do this as long as they're willing to do this, to behave in this manner. There's going to be the simp problem. The simp problem is not going anywhere. These are symptomatic of the problem. These kinds of shows, these kinds of events, and of course, and it's just like men are the ones who are always put in these positions where they're going to be demeaned and mocked and ridiculed. Women are not put in these positions now. It's seen as like really in poor taste to make women feel bad about themselves, or on the other hand, to go up and have a woman be like wolf whistled and cat called and stuff. But it's perfectly fine if it's a good-looking man, or a man that women find appealing. Okay, and I'd better stop now because I think I've gotten lost here. I think I took a wrong turn, but I'll continue this video later. Thanks for watching.